Hey, I'm Isabel Bercaw, and when I was 12 years old, I founded a multi-million-dollar bath and body products company called the Bomb Bath. After 5 years of building my own brand, I've discovered a passion for helping young and innovative entrepreneurs tell their stories. Hopefully, you'll be inspired by the guests here on Build-A-Biz and maybe even motivated to start a business of your own. Let's get into it.
This is Build-A-Biz with Isabel Bercaw.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Build-A-Biz. My name is Isabel Bercaw. I'm your host here on the show, and today I have a very special guest joining me. She is the 18-year-old entrepreneur. Her name is Tyla-Simone Crayton, and she is the CEO and founder of Sienna Sauce, and I'm so happy to have her here with me today. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tyla.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's amazing to be here, and I'm excited to, share my story with your community.
Yeah, so let's hear about this story.
Yeah, so I initially started selling the sauce when I was about 14. I had this sauce for a while, and I just made it for friends and family. And then later on, my mom was like, hey, do you want to bottle your sauce? And I was like, yes. So we started selling wings out of our house, and the wings caught on. Everybody loved it. Everybody was tasting it, and they were like, this is great. And from that, we were able to test the market and see if people actually really liked our sauce. And then we got a lot of customer feedback, which led us to creating our additional flavors, which are lemon pepper and spicy. So now we have 3 flavors, and we have been selling it across the country.
That's so awesome. What's your favorite flavor?
My favorite flavor is tangy, hands down. It's the original, so it has some seniority, so that's why it's my favorite.
Yeah, and in a way, it's like it has some nostalgia with it too. You're like, This is the OG. I gotta stick with this.
Yes, exactly. It's the OG flavor.
So you said the recipe had been used in your family, but you're the one who invented it.
Yeah. So I had created the sauce when I was about 8, and so for years I just made it at anytime we had a wing and wine Wednesday, like my mom did, or we had a wing night, or maybe she was making chicken cutlets and I made it as a dipping sauce. So it was just something that I made for friends and family.
Wait, did you say wing and wine Wednesday?
Yeah, my mom had those, and I would make the sauce for her, and I would get some wings.
This sounds like a tradition that I need to mimic with my friends. This is awesome. I actually just turned 21, so if you're under 21, don't have the wine, but maybe you could do Wing Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so cool that your mom involved you in this, and that you wanted to be involved. Were you always cooking, or was this just kind of a special occasion thing where you'd be like, all right, everyone, I'm going to make my sauce?
Yeah, it was one of those things. We didn't have the wings without the sauce. Once it became a thing, it was you had to pair them together. And nobody really wanted the wings without the sauce, because once you had it, you can't go back. It was just that good. So my mom she's the cook, so she would cook all the food, but then I would make the sauce, and we would sauce the wings together. And she taught me about how to make wings and a bunch of different things for when we actually started selling the wings years later.
So are you sick of wings now, or do you still have them a couple times a week, maybe once a week?
I am not sick of wings at all. I actually just came back from college, and the first thing I said when I landed, I was like, we need to make some wings. So we just had some last week, and now our sauce is bottled. So all I have to do is pour it out the bottle and sauce the wings.
Nice. That's so easy now, I bet.
Yes.
So I really like that you mentioned a little bit of the process when we were talking about how you first got started. You talked about how you worked with a test market, which was your friends and family, and then more people wanted to start buying the wings. So then you talked to those people. You got a lot of customer feedback, and then now you expanded your product line, which is super cool. Can you tell me anything else that you've learned in business that you find is really important along the way?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I've learned in the way I've grown as a person and an entrepreneur is just learning how to deal with change. I'm the type of person that, like, if I wanted something to go a certain way, like, and it didn't go that way, I would have a really hard time dealing with that. So really just learning how to adjust and pivot in situations where things may not go the way you wanted them to go, because that happens every day in entrepreneurship. So just dealing with that and figuring out how to better myself in that way, and just make sure that I hold myself accountable and my team accountable.
Totally. And I really like that you talk about, the ever changing situations in entrepreneurship, because I totally find that to be, it could be an issue, but it can also be a tool. And I'm actually finding, some common ground here with with my bath bomb business and your sauce business. It's really funny because on Build-A-Biz, I'll be talking with guests and we'll be like, our products or our services have nothing in common, but it turns out there's a lot in common with how you do business. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but I loved that you talked about that, because in my business, we have a saying that is expect the unexpected. And it's basically something that it means to us, if something's going to go wrong, it will. So you have to expect to always be, innovative and on your toes. And you can't always expect that everything is going to go well, which kind of sucks, because life would be a lot easier if everything went smoothly, but it would also be a lot less interesting, wouldn't it?
Yes. I mean, one thing we like from early on, I was like, it's really hard to make plans. So we can set goals and try to accomplish those goals in any shape or form. But when you set plans, usually things don't go as planned. So
Yeah. Speaking of not going as planned, your freshman year of college, how's that going? Maybe with COVID, not.
yeah, I mean, in Berkeley, it's kind of like in California in general, it's very strict right now. So everybody's masked up. You can't go into any restaurants without a vaccination card. A lot of our courses are hybrid, so some of them are in person and some of them are virtual. And that's pretty interesting because I was already used to online school because I did homeschooling for 2 years for my last 2 years of high school. So that was a smooth adjustment. And I think that experience really helped me with going to college, because now I have assignments, but they may not be due immediately. So I just have to practice my skills of time managing and also still like running the business and being on weekly meetings. So that virtual life, I was already used to. So I like that we're still doing that on campus.
Yeah, I bet that's a nice little perk. It's cool that in all this you've found the positive silver lining to having to do your freshman year of college online. May I ask you a little bit more about that? Like, what are you majoring in?
So I plan to major in business at Haas. So I will be applying for the School of Business next year. Well, end of this year, actually. So that's going to be exciting.
That is so exciting. How have you found the transition, I guess? Because we were talking a little bit about change. What has changed about how you run your business?
Well, the everything has really changed since 2020. A lot of our things have become virtual. A lot of our team doesn't even live in the same state as us. So we're always like Zooming with them or on Google Meets, and we have that distance, but everything is still in sync because really the business is ran through technology, which everybody on our team has access to. And so, of course, we still have our headquarters and our home office, which our employees do come in here every week for fulfillment and packaging. But based off of everything that we've been through over the past 2 years, we've really learned how to change how we run our business. And it's more streamlined and more technology driven and just allows us different ways to stay connected, but being so far apart.
Yeah, I think that's really.
So I can really run my business anywhere.
Where's your dream location that you'd like to run your business from?
I love Houston because we started in Houston, and but I would, if anywhere else, I would open up a headquarters in California because there's so many supermarkets and grocery stores and culture and food in California, which is exactly what a sauce company needs to be around. And I just love California. So if any other place and we did open up a different location in a state, I would say it'd be California.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I was stalking you on Instagram a little bit because that's part of my job. With a very impressive resume, and I was seeing that part of the reason you chose to go to UC Berkeley was because you thought it would be a good choice as a first generation college student. You would really like to be able to. You thought it was a good place for building generational wealth, which I thought was interesting, and a generational, tradition there. What are some other things that you're doing to build generational wealth, and why do you find that that is important?
I think generational wealth is important, mainly a part of a legacy, especially not even just for myself and my family, but just for my community in general. There's not a lot of Black billionaires, Black women entrepreneurs, especially in the condiments industry or the food industry. So I would just love to make my mark in that and show other ladies that it's possible. And barbecue sauces or seasonings aren't just for men. Like, we know how to cook too, and we love food too. And so I think it's more about the inspiring piece and just, again, having more opportunities to network and meet people and impact people's lives while I'm here. And then any wealth I accumulate, I would love to pass that on to my family and then also donate to some charities and organizations that I've been a part of during my lifetime.
What are some of those charities and organizations?
One of them that I work with Junior Achievement a lot. They're kind of entrepreneur focused and getting young people to know about money. I've volunteered with them. I've also spoke to them as well. And then I partner with a sister ship in Texas and their organization. We've done many different partnerships together in Houston and donating to any causes they have or any events they're sponsoring. So organizations like that, and I know as our business grows, we'll be able to give to more people. So I'm just excited for that.
That is so awesome to hear. Well, Tyla-Simone, we're actually going to take a really quick music break, but when we return from the break, I would love to continue to discuss your story and your passion for charity and all that good stuff. Hey everybody, welcome back to Build-A-Biz. I'm Isabel Bercaw, your host, and I'm here back from the commercial break with the founder and CEO of Sienna Sauce. She is an 18-year-old entrepreneur named Tyla-Simone Crayton. Tyla, thank you so much for being with us here today, and thank you for discussing with me before the music break all about your work with Junior Achievement and other charities. Also, you talked about barbecue sauce and feminism, which is not something that a lot of people might equate, but somehow you made it make sense. Tyla-Simone. So you were saying about barbecue sauce and sauces and spices, it's not only for men. And I feel like that's really interesting because it wasn't something that I was like, wow, I think about this every day. But when you said it, it makes a lot of sense because I always remember my dad grilling and, my boyfriend likes to grill and his stepdad likes to grill and all these different things. But I don't really see a lot of women being like, barbecuing is my passion. And it honestly seems kind of fun, especially with all the stereotypical women do the cooking stereotypes. Why don't we get to grill too?
Yeah.
Make us cook. I thought that was fun to mention that.
I've had the opportunity to meet some amazing women in grilling and, pit masters. I just recently did an event at the World Food Championship, and I was a judge for a firewoman competition. And they had to cook all these different types of food on just a lit flame. And so there was a steak, a tomahawk steak, somebody did shrimp, somebody did all these different types of food and vegetables just on an open flame in the middle of this giant parking lot, and it was amazing. The food came out amazing. Everybody used our sauce, the tangy flavor, and so we got to really show the versatility of our sauces and how it really could be used on anything. And these women came up with all these different things. And they were fire. Like, they were fire women. So
That's so awesome. And it's like there's all these different spots where like people can come on and I don't want to get too, hateful towards anybody, but people can really say like, "Oh, there is equal representation in this industry," or, that I don't see sexism in this industry or in this niche. But when you start to look closely, there's a lot of these situations where you don't really even think about it, but you also don't really support an idea either, I guess. So I like that you bring that up, because we need people like you to be talking about this representation and to be talking about these topics that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, but they're also good to learn about.
definitely.
So I want to talk a little bit more about you as a person. And I think a great way to start with that would be to ask you, what day of the year is Tyla-Simone Crayton Day in Houston?
Yes, Tyla-Simone Crayton Day is on February 4th, and I also have another day in Houston, and it's on February 19th. So,
Wow. Well, you have 2 days, miss. That's so awesome. So what is special about these days? Like, is the date significant in any way? Either of the dates?
yes, on February 19th, actually, that's the day that we aired on Shark Tank. And it was an amazing day because that's something that me and my mom had always like thought about and dreamed of. And so when they thought about honoring me, they chose that day, and is now even more significant. So we were going to celebrate the anniversary anyway, but now it's the anniversary and also Tyla-Simone Crayton Day. So
Love it. Love it. And what about February 4th?
February 4th, it is the day, it is Rosa Parks' birthday. So that is the significance to me, to be honored on the same day as, a civil rights activist and leader. So that's really cool for me, but I don't know specifically why that day was chosen.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about Shark Tank? You were saying that you were really proud of that achievement. So I'd like to hear more about your experience.
Yeah, I mean, me and my mom had been watching Shark Tank since I was 8, and never did we think that we were actually gonna be on the show. Like, we've been watching it, and so they reached out to us and said that they saw our business and thought we'd be great for Shark Tank, and we were like, yeah, we know what Shark Tank is. Yeah, we'll definitely apply. So we applied. We sent in our information. That was in 2020, and well, that was in 2019, and then in 2019 we didn't get picked, and then 2020 we reached back out and was like, hey, are you doing it this year? If so, we'd love to reapply. And they were like, just send us any new information you have. And in 2020 we got picked, and it was crazy because we were in the middle of a pandemic, so they had so many different restrictions. It was the first time Shark Tank was ever filmed outside of like LA in California. It was filmed in Vegas. We were put up at the Venetian and we had to quarantine for 10 days. We couldn't even walk outside of our room for ice, like, at all. They were very, very strict and very protective, which we appreciated because, everybody was going through a hard time and just trying not to get sick. And so everything went smoothly. It was a great experience to meet the sharks and talk to them. And it was kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I'm glad I got to share it with my mom, and it was really cool.
That's awesome. And then where can we find the episode if the viewers want to watch the episode?
Yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure it's either on the ABC app or you can watch it on Hulu. And it's season 12, episode 14.
That's awesome. And then while we're on the topic, where can we find your socials and your sauce?
Yeah. So you can follow us. You can follow the drip at Sienna Sauce on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And then you can follow me at Tyla-Simone Crayton on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
And like I said, I always stalk my my interviewees before I have my guests, I guess, on the show. And I can attest that Tyla-Simone's content is very interesting. Tyla, thank you so much for coming on Build-A-Biz today. Before we leave, I'd love if you could give a shout out to your favorite sauce recipe that you've made with your sauce.
One of my favorites is there's so many. I mean, definitely the wings, but I would say second is the shrimp. And these shrimp are so good. You know, any way somebody makes shrimp, they can do it as a shrimp cocktail and use the sauce as a dip, or they can do regular fried shrimp and use the sauce as a dip, but it's a great pairing. And then you can take the tangy sauce, mix it with mayo and relish, and make your own tartar sauce. So you can use that for shrimp or fish or anything. So that's something really unique that I like.
That's amazing. And all these recipes can be found on the Sienna Sauce website.
Yes, siennasauce.com.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on Build-A-Biz today. I loved this so much. If any of the listeners missed the first half of the show, or maybe they want to listen to this episode again, they should definitely go to the Build-A-Bear YouTube channel, where you can find
Build-A-Bear Radio playlist with all the Build-A-Biz episodes attached there.
And thank you so much for coming on my show, Tyla-Simone.
Thank you so much for having me. Live, love, and sauce it up.
Yeah, from the sauce boss herself.